All right, here we go. Betting Weekly Live here with you on a Tuesday. Mike Carver along with Doug Kezirian as we get you ready for all the action tonight. We have got NBA, we've got one NHL game, and they'll have a full slate tomorrow. We've got some action tonight, a lot of college hoops. Very, very busy here on a holiday week. Thanksgiving, of course, coming up on Thursday. Remember, no show on Thursday. No Betting Weekly Live Thursday. Of course, we will be here today, tomorrow, and Friday. And new start time, 4 p.m. East, 1 p.m. Pacific. Good to have everybody with us here as we get going. Betting Weekly Studios, Bet Rivers Network, etc. Doug, good to see you. As always, my man. It was quite the late night for us. I got upset when Bruce Cassidy pulled the goalie with 5 minutes left out, too. And then that wasn't enough for him. He had to pull the goalie again down 3 with 3.5 minutes left. And sure enough, that's how you lose unders today in the NHL when you have maniac coaches who are pulling the goalie. So a push on that. I put the head on the pillow thinking, all right, at least we'll get the T-Wolves home and we'll be good to go. What happened at the end of that game, Doug? I was well asleep by then.
Up 10, 3 minutes to go. And you go to overtime, even though Sacto had a shot to win it in regulation. We just needed the win. And it's frustrating because Ant went off at 1,000,000 threes, and we only needed 3 for the same game parlay. And there was a transition in a tie game with 2 minutes to go. They just threw a lazy pass, cross-court picked off, and 3 in the other end. I mentioned the Kings are playing much better with Keegan Murray back in the lineup, but still, no excuse to blow that game. But it did kind of remind me, was it smarter to throw Ant at 4 made threes or to ask them to win the game? Now, they were wire to wire. It was the right side the entire in terms of win, not necessarily the spread. But again, I brought this up last week. I forget the example, but we learn every day, right, in this racket. Yep. And just a reminder that, obviously the numbers are there for a reason. Like Ant, the reason I liked Ant was I thought he was going to gun a lot and get the 3 threes. He almost had it at halftime. So I don't know. I go back and forth. Was that a bad bet? Should I have just done 4 plus threes and not had to worry about who wins the game? But then again, the game played out the right way. Minnesota's trying to address some things. Sacto off the big win. It's frustrating for me too.
It is. That's the old term, Doug, right? The cap was right with Ant. The cap was right that Ant was gonna go off with the threes. But hey, as usual, Doug, the other stuff, great. I mean, the late night college hoops, Arizona State, Maryland, Auburn women, everything else, as usual, very good for us yesterday on Betting Weekly Live. All right, let's get to our Tuesday action because we do have a lot of it this evening, and we will start in the NBA. Now, you will get the NBA Cup tonight with this limited slate, full slate tomorrow, and then Friday. It's the end of the group stage of the NBA Cup over these next 3 days. Game days, I should say. Of course, they're not playing on Thursday. Let's start this evening with the Magic and the Sixers. Of course, this is the 8 o'clock East NBC game / Peacock, depending on where in the country you are. No Embiid, no Paul George for the Sixers tonight. Magic now -4, 228.5 the total.
I've touched on my frustration / inability to kind of handicap Sixers games right now. I do like what they're doing. I think Tyrese Maxey's fantastic, all that good stuff. I just can't get behind this, but I don't want to lay the 4 either. I think the number's right. Orlando's been a little tricky to figure out themselves. So these are 2 teams I've sort of started to avoid. And I think the Magic have put things together. Then they lost a bunch in a row, and then they coming off a nice win over, they're lost to the Celtics, which, I was getting overconfident there because we thought the Desmond Bane buzzer beater unlocked some things, but this Orlando team's a little tricky. So it's a pass for me, unfortunately.
If you want to just look at who, I guess, quote unquote, it matters in the NBA Cup, the Sixers are 0-2. The Magic are 2-0 in the NBA Cup, and they can kind of set up a winner can take the group with the Pistons on Friday night if they can win tonight. So that's kind of there with the Magic. The Pistons are going to play the Celtics tomorrow night. And if they win that, both of them would be 3-0, and they play each other Friday night. So that's kind of where the Magic are and the Sixers in terms of the NBA Cup. as we get ready for this evening. The other game, the late night game, the whole country should unfortunately get this, although at 11 o'clock, I could throw Peacock on for the Clippers and the Lakers tonight. -6.5 at the crypto, 229.5 the total.
I touched on it the first week of the season. Don't think that the Lakers all of a sudden have turned into a defensive juggernaut. Remember, Luka was playing a bunch of D opening night, and then he hurt his groin, and then he ended up missing a week. So it's like, all right, there's that defensive effort, gone. That was a nice trial run, but we're not going to have that kind of effort and intensity on both ends of the floor from Luka. And I think the chemistry is excellent with the Lakers. I think LeBron obviously fit in seamlessly. I think they all enjoy each other. I think LeBron's okay for now, running through Luka and even Austin Reeves. But I don't think they're a defensive-minded team. I think that's all offense. That's going to be their calling card, and they're going to be really tough to stop. With that being said, I do like the dog a little bit here. I think it's too many points. Clippers have been playing well, and I wouldn't be absolutely stunned if the Clippers won this game, actually. Now, they are obviously battling injuries, and they've been a mess. But Harden's been going off. And I think Clippers team total, things like that is what's caught my eye. Again, I want to fade the Lakers defense in this situation.
And this is also, is this the kind of game, Doug, that can maybe look? This has been a brutal start for the Clippers. What are they, 5-12? 5-12 going into this game tonight. They usually play well against the Lakers, especially over the last couple of years since Kawhi's been there, etc. This maybe can be the type of game tonight that can maybe push them off a little bit and get them going.
Yeah, and they've also, the last 2 weeks, they've been fine. I mean, they lose at Cleveland, at Orlando, at Philly, at Boston,
right,
home to Denver, home to the Hawks, the home and home with the Suns. I mean, you'd like to win some games along there. I mean, they did beat Dallas in there in overtime, but you'd like to beat some of those quality teams. But it's not like they're losing to the Jazz, the Pelicans,
right,
and things like that. I think, and they've been competitive. A lot of those losses were 2 and 5, and so I don't know. I feel like there's definitely a world where Lakers win and cover because they come at you at waves and they play hard and all that good stuff. But the Clippers are, I don't want to say they're bet on spot, but I'd be careful with them. Their record says they stink. They do at times, but Harden's been an absolute beast, and that's not out of the ordinary. I mean, there's even buzz and is he better than D Wade kind of thing. I mean, his career numbers definitely in the 30s. He's been better than Wade.
Yeah.
So it's worth just having some pause there.
And Harden's number 24.5 tonight in this game.
I really like the over. I think that's too low. That's too low. That's best bet material there.
There you go for Harden this evening. Now, Bet Rivers also does have a special for you in this game tonight. Royal Rush. LeBron James to score in the first 3 minutes versus the Clippers. I love stuff. This is like a micro bet special here, though. You got this win 3 minutes into the game, boosted from even money to plus 125. We got a hoop from the King in the first 3 minutes at plus 125.
Yeah, or maybe a foul, right? Like that's all you need.
Yeah,
LeBron's been pretty passive. Just watching his games, he's trying to fit in, if you will. I like it. I think it's a little extra candy. Can't go wrong with that little boost there. That's a significant boost from plus 100 to plus 125. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too. And it'll allow me, like I said, being on the East Coast, I could just watch the first 3 minutes of Lakers Clippers if I so desire, and I'll know if I got one in the pocket before the head hits the pillow tonight.
Very well said.
So, the other NBA Cup game that's not on NBC or Peacock, and probably for good reason, the Hawks are in DC against the Wizards tonight. Hawks minus 10.5, road favorites here. 237 flat the total, big total.
That is a big number, but that's because the Hawks and both the T-Wolves just don't play a whole lot of defense.
Yeah.
I like this Atlanta team. They let me down last week against the Spurs. Of course, the Spurs laid an egg the next game. Go figure. They're a good team. They've been bet on more than they've been not a bet on team during this Trae Young sort of stretch. The Wizards, man, they're really bad. Obviously, 1-15, 0-6 against the spread. They've been hanging around a little bit, so that's something to consider. I think the number feels right. It's a big number. I'd lay it before I took it, though.
I agree with you, and that's probably where I would go as well. The Wizards are just they are brutal so far here to start the season. They got thumped in Toronto the other night, although they did play well. What was that the next night where they just came up short? I forget. We were talking about the game yesterday. The Bulls on Saturday night where they just came up short. So 3 games in the NBA Cup this evening. They also have at Bet Rivers tonight. NBA Midweek Live Profit Boost. Players can log into Bet Rivers app. We'll receive an NBA Live Profit Boost upon each login on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. See the Bet Rivers app or website for full details. That is the NBA Midweek Live Profit Boost tonight. 3 games in action for the NBA Cup. All right, Betting Weekly Live here on a Tuesday. Mike Carver and Doug Kezirian. We have more hoops. It is Feast Week. Off to a great start. Lots of great games last night. I watched quite a bit of Gonzaga and Alabama, a little bit of the Maui game with Arizona State as well. After that, so far today, Doug, Iowa State beat Creighton by 18. That was a Vegas game. I know the Irish beat Rutgers. That was an earlier Vegas game as well. NC State's up 6 on Boise State. That's out in Maui at the Invitational. And we have a few games that are going to start really in a few minutes, about 15 minutes from now in Vegas for St. John's and Baylor. That'll be the first one that we go to right now at Bet Rivers. St. John's -6, 159.5 the total.
Yeah, so we touched on St. John's yesterday. I liked them plus the points. They got there because I felt having been battle tested against Bama at the MSG was going to carry over into a tight game, and maybe that proved to be the difference against the Cyclones. So St. John's, you got 2.5 yesterday, and you needed it because they lost by 1. I wonder about Baylor here, undefeated. They had a nice win against Creighton, but for the most part, it's been Cupcake City to start the season. And the Johnnies have 2 nice wins at least nice performances under their belt. And that's where I wonder, right? Like, I just don't know how much it translates over. And I think obviously Pitino's going to have these guys ready to play. Baylor's done their part. They've played their schedule. I just want, are they going to be ready for the physicality and the tempo and everything? That's what gives me pause to grab the points with the Bears. I think the number's probably a little cheap. Probably should be 7.5. So I guess I lean St. John's here.
Yeah, St. John's played well yesterday, as you mentioned, in that game, Iowa State. The other earlier game, which actually about 6 o'clock East in Vegas, is Tennessee and Houston. Both of these teams 6-0 to start the season. Houston -2.5. They needed extra work to beat Syracuse last night. 132.5 the total.
Yeah, and I touched on it yesterday, saying I leaned to Syracuse because they were getting so many points against a Houston team that I think it kind of wanted Tennessee here. I mean, Tennessee's a nice team, both ranked. I think Houston's the play here. I think Houston was looking past the cues. I like this play a lot. I think to take points against Houston, you're going to need 6 in my world. They're really good. I think they could be the best team here. Look, Vol's good. The program's head the right track, all that good stuff. But Tennessee, Houston's on a different level in my eyes. And again, this is like who you played. Are you ready physically? All that stuff. I think the Cougs are the play.
I'm with you. I like Houston a lot in this one. This is one of the ones that did jump out to me tonight with all of these college basketball games. And this is like a March feel to it too, right, Doug? Tennessee and Houston. You figure it's 2 teams that you might see in the weekend of the last 16 when we get to the NCAA tournament, et cetera. So nice little preview early in the season to get a good look at those couple of teams. Michigan and Auburn, part of the later slate out in Vegas. Michigan -4.5. A little bigger total here. 162.5 for Michigan and Auburn.
I'm done betting against Auburn. I actually did not bet them yesterday, but I joked that they're going to make me go broke. The Steve Pearl sort of wagon. He's got these guys playing, and look, he was a good recruiter, all that stuff. So maybe he knows how to push the right buttons. They're really impressive. 5-1. They're only lost a 1-point loss to Houston, the team we just discussed. Michigan's been fine. I got to grab the points here with Auburn. I'm stunned. I made this number close to like Auburn -1.
Yeah.
I get it. Wolverines are legit, all that stuff, but I got to grab the points here.
I mean, I know they won by 40 last night, but that was, I mean, nothing against, I mean, they were San Diego State, and not exactly San Diego State from a couple years ago.
That's what I said.
You
Said,
know,
be careful. This is not the Aztecs we've seen make runs in the tournament.
No, it certainly is not. Maryland and Gonzaga. Gonzaga right now, and I did watch a little bit of this because I liked Bama last night. I hit them live at 5.5, 6.5. It didn't matter, Doug, how many times I got Bama live, because at the end, Gonzaga took care of business. This is 2 tutties and a hook, 157.5. And I also last night found myself, Doug, sometimes it's the first time you're watching these teams in November, you're getting a feel. I had no idea that Gonzaga got the kid from Grand Canyon, who's so good. His name, I forget his name off the top of my head. He's a really good player. He dropped like 20 for them last night. EK is still there. This Gonzaga team, very tough to deal with.
I mean, EK is the modern day Colin Gillespie, all those guys who are just there forever. Kansas had some. I mean, EK, I think he's the Pavia of college basketball. It's crazy.
Grant Foster, that's the kid. Grant Foster, who was on Grand Canyon.
It feels too many points. Maryland's missing some guys, although Buzz made some great halftime adjustments. They were just so flat to begin the game yesterday. Had a nice second half comeback against UNLV there. I mean, I'm sitting here watching the game at my midnight or whatever, my 10:30, 11 p.m. I'm like, what is going on with this Maryland team? I think Zach's could roll here. Maryland pushed the pace a lot, so I think we could be looking at it over. That was my initial read, but then it's like, oh, total's 157.5. That's pretty high. I think the Zags put it on them. They've been really impressive. It's not just at home at the Kennel. They were really impressive yesterday. Maryland, look, UNLV's got some players, and a lot of guys have some bounce. Like, they can shoot, they can play, hit threes. It's Zaga or pass for me.
Yeah, I know it feels like a lot. Like you look at it and you go, man, 14.5. Gonzaga's, they're really good. They are really, really good.
We just saw Houston in the nail biter with the Qs, right?
Yeah.
Similar point spread. So, but I don't think the Zags have those letdown really opportunities unless they get in conference play and are circling a game against St. Mary's and some sort of a look ahead spot there.
Now, the other late night game is also with a big spread, 13.5 at Bet Rivers, is Alabama, who lost the game to Gonzaga last night. They're playing UNLV, who lost to Maryland. It's 13.5 for the Tide. And I got this now. This is actually even further up. I got 182. This is now pumped up to on the Bet Rivers app, up to 182.
You got to be careful what you wish for, right? UNLV wants to run and shoot threes. It's like, oh, Alabama's a different animal here. I think Bama's going to roll them. I think it's too many. Bama all day.
That's not the team you want to run.
It's late though. It's late. That's the body clock thing. But Alabama's off a loss, so that's something to consider at least.
As far as anything else this evening, do you want to go back to our Sun Devils after last night? They good win. They won that game outright against Texas. And tonight, they are, of course, playing in the winners bracket there against Washington State, who had to rally to beat Chaminade. Arizona State's laying 6 in that game.
Got to be careful with ASU. Bobby Hurley wears on officials. And I mean, his brother does too. So when you're in the same turn, remember last year, Danny Hurley was fed up with the officials in Hawaii, and he was going bananas, and he was off back-to-back national champions. And I think this is the video where he was yelling at the ref during a timeout, like, don't tell me what to do. I'm the best effing coach in the country. And like the refs just don't want to hear it. That kind of like just bickering and constant. So I think it's a positive effect early. He's Bobby with the players and everything, and then after a while, the refs are like, "All right, enough's enough." I don't like this Washington State team that much. So it may not be the right spot. Maybe there's a better opportunity to fade them, but 6 feels right here.
I will give you one other one that I saw, and this is at the Chase in San Francisco, of course, where the Warriors play. You get an old Pac-12 matchup with UCLA and Cal. Both teams 5-1. UCLA 8.5. I know you've gone after UCLA a couple times with some really big spreads at home. They're laying 8.5 here. Now, I haven't seen this Cal team play yet. They are 5-1, and they're catching 8.5 here against the Bruins.
Mark Madsen's Cal Bears.
Yeah.
You haven't been watching them?
I haven't
The Mad Dog going
with
you know,
Cal. Mad Dog.
the rival of his alma mater, right? Stanford
Yeah.
product with Cal. Yeah, I know what you mean. This I think Mick Cronin knows what he's doing, right? So this could be one of those things where he's going to get his teams peaking and playing better and stuff. Cal's fine. Matthew's doing a good job. I'm happy for him. All that. 8.5. I would need like 11.5 here. I think 8.5 is a little short.
Okay. So
Maybe. I don't know. I go back and forth, so I'm torn here.
Yeah. I kind of like the under in the game. 145. A little sleepy late night. Made the Mad Dog puts him to sleep there at the Chase. So lots of college hoops tonight for you. There's like several hundred other games as well that are on the card this evening. So it is feast week and there's a lot of action. Now, before I move on, Doug, to the NHL and a few other things, I have to slip this in now because if I wait until we get to the college football, it'll have already started. I mean, you got the last night of action here, and I didn't realize that they were serving us up an afternoon/late afternoon action game. I mean, I know they want to get to bed early in Amherst up at UMass, but the Minutemen and Bowling Green starting in about 10 minutes. Bowling Green laying 14 on the road to 0-11 UMass at a 44.5.
It's like conference championship weekend in the NFL where they stagger the kickoffs. You can't have multiple games going on because this is the final day of weekday action. So it's a celebratory mood right now in college football. This number literally in the last 10 minutes just moved from 14 to 13.5. I kind of agree. Bowling Green has been in a tailspin a lot. Now, I like what Eddie George has done, things like that, but sometimes these seasons get away from you and you don't have experience getting them back on the train tracks. They've lost 5 straight. They've been bad. The game where they won was a fluky game where they should have lost. That was against Toledo. So they really should be riding an 8-game skid and be winless in conference. So we're deprived of that winless matchup in action where we could really kind of joke about the toilet bowl. I think UMass is a bet on team. I think they're playing hard. They're running through the tape. It'd be a bet if it was plus 14. But I want no part of Bowling Green. I wonder about their team total too. Like they've been having trouble scoring against certain teams. I don't know. It's a pretty low total. You're looking at like 28.5, 29.5. But I don't think they can score. But the problem is UMass is pitiful. I mean, really, really bad. Should be like relegated to FCS or send them back to FCS kind of thing. So I'm going to keep an eye on this game because it's action and it's kicking off pretty soon, but it's UMass or pass, but I think it's probably a pass. But I'm going to kick myself when UMass is tied at halftime kind of thing.
Well, as you tell me a lot of the time, the great thing is on that Bet Rivers app, you can use that little slider, and I put that little slider back to 14, and I got at minus 117. So the 14 is not too bad at minus 117 if you want to get back to that full 2 tutties. For UMass.
I like when you talk dirty to me. I mean, that's whispering soft nothings into my ear. I think that's a play. At minus 117, that is a play.
Or maybe Bowling Green gets the ball first and scores. We can get him at 17 or 18 or 19 at UMass, right?
Careful.
Right after,
yeah.
Right after all of that.
Honestly, that's the thing you need to be careful with UMass. The games can get away from them.
Yeah.
Like, my buddy says you can't expect bad teams to do good things, right? Like this game, they're winless for a reason. I mean, they're winless in the entire season. They're 0-11, and they've just been a punching bag when they go up in class. Not that Bowling Green's that good, but remember earlier in the year I had Kent minus 2.5 at home to UMass, and they won by 40 or something. So this UMass team is certainly capable of getting blown out. I just don't think the Falcons are their mindset. They're on the road. I wouldn't be stunned if UMass wins the game. I really wouldn't. This is a large variance here. I don't think Bowling Green's mindset is right. So that's why I want the points.
There you go. We'll do the other action game in a little bit, as it's always fun when Western and Eastern Michigan get together in Ypsilanti. So we will get that in a little while here on Betting Weekly Live. All right, hockey tonight. Also short for us because there's only one game in the NHL on a Tuesday night, which is super bizarre because Tuesday is usually one of their busiest nights of the week, but usually everyone just about plays on Thanksgiving Eve in the NHL. So that is why you get the full slate tomorrow which we will do then on Betting Live. But we do have one game tonight. Dallas in Edmonton against the Oilers. So a little Western Conference final rematch from last year. Right now, the Oilers at Bet Rivers, as we cue them up, minus 148 for Edmonton, plus $1.18 for the Stars. This is now up to 6.5. It was 6 earlier in the day in terms of a total. I lean over tonight, Doug. Maybe it's because I'm in a bad mood after Cassidy last night with Vegas, and now I don't want to play unders anymore. I'm just kidding. I'm just still very bitter about that. It's more just these two teams played a 7-goal game a couple weeks ago. Obviously, last year in the Western Conference Final, they played some high-scoring games. I think it just leans to the over. Whether it's 6, 6.5, that's probably the one way I would go tonight. And you rarely get the Stars with a plus in front of them. And the Oilers haven't been playing very well. So that might be the only way I would lean to the Stars, but nothing really super jumps out at me.
Yeah, you got to be careful with those types of situations. With these games can get away from you and stuff like that. I agree. It's tough to bet unders, although, my last action was the Kraken and Islanders on Sunday, and that was a 0-0 shootout game. I'm with you. I may not tell you here. I don't like betting. I think Oilers are probably the side, no?
It's, the Stars are 1-1 on this little Western Canada trip. They lost in Calgary the other night. So it's tough. It's probably Oilers. It's probably 139. Yeah, I could see it. I'm not going to be on the side, Doug, one way or the other tonight with Dallas and Edmonton. It's going to be over or nothing for me in this game, depending on how some of the early basketball goes. Maybe we'll jump in on the over with Dallas and Edmonton. I like a lot of stuff tomorrow. A couple good games tomorrow in that full Thanksgiving Eve slate that we're going to have. So like you said, you got to sometimes you pick your spots. Just because there's only one game on the card instead of 10 doesn't mean that you have to play it. Just because if there's one game there this evening. So Stars and the Oilers tonight in the National Hockey League. Once again, of course, if you are watching us on Betting Weekly Live and you like what you're watching, as you should, make sure that you subscribe to the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. And while you are there, check out our other shows released earlier today. Betting Weekly Dojo. Nigel Seeley and Neil Channing as they discuss how to handle losing streaks like a pro bettor, managing stakes, variance, and emotions. I had some emotions last night at Cassidy. So Betting Weekly Dojo, Nigel and Neil have got you there. Go check it out on the Betting Weekly Studios channel on YouTube. All right, NFL. We head now, Doug, to week 13 in the NFL, which is pretty amazing here as we get going. We have, of course, the 3 games on Thanksgiving, 1 game on Friday, full slate over the weekend. Couple of things off of last week as we turn the corner here and about to head into December. Anything that you're keeping your eye on big picture-wise, overarching theme after last week?
I touched on it with Bowling Green, right? Some teams run through the tape, some teams don't. So I'm keeping an eye on which teams are playing well, playing hard, coaching changes and whatnot. Obviously, Raiders are Exhibit A. Maybe they're not going to run through the tape and they're going to lose out in their adjusted win total. But one thing is, a lot of times teams get like chic backing by the public, and I'm not a fade the public guy. The public wins plenty, right? And the point spread is the point spread and the great equalizer. But just be careful when everyone's on a certain side and you don't trust that team. Everyone and their mothers was on the Lions. Oh, they're undefeated ATS off a loss. The Saints last week. There's some trendy, ugly dogs that are there for a reason, like Tampa Sunday night. So just be careful. The sharpest computer-driven syndicates in the world are the ones driving this market, not the recreational hacks there's a lot of content out there. So be careful when there's buzz on a team. These people mostly don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I agree. There are some teams that get all that, the trendy talk. And I think you can also kind of at this point, and this is what I'm doing in a couple spots this week, Doug, like at this point now, 12 weeks in, and we're about there into the last month, do you just find those teams that their season's over? Like they're packing it in. I know sometimes the numbers might be big against them. The example I'll give is obviously kind of like, Minnesota this week or maybe the Raiders, etc. The numbers are big, but you can kind of see that they've got Cancun on the eye at this point as you head down the last
Yeah.
couple of
I mean,
weeks.
usually that happens over the last like 2-3 weeks of the season. Whereas in the middle of the year, a lot of guys are playing for contracts and short term situations. The eye in the sky never lies, right? So a lot of game film and things like that. So usually around this time, you got to be careful, assuming too much. But these teams that are big dogs for a reason. It's not like the sports books know the power rating. To your point of the Minnesota Vikings right now,
Right.
like anyone come up with an accurate power rating right now of the Raiders? Like, you don't know what's going on in that locker room. They just fired their OC. They recently fired, I believe, a special teams coach. Their O line's a mess. Gino's been a jackass in a lot of interviews. Um, I don't know. Is Ashton Genty going to hit a wall at one of these points? He's getting beat up in every game. He walked off the field very dejected. At some point, steamrolling Mountain West opponents and getting banged up by 300 pounders is going to have its toll. So I would just say the market, after saying that these trendy teams and then the market, some of these teams, like there's not really an accurate power rating with. So there's always going to be sharps on both sides of games, things like that. But I don't know if we're quite ready for the senioritis kicking in.
Not quite yet. Still got a few weeks to go. 6 games, 5 or 6 games left for most of these teams. All right, let's go for two. Two early sides or totals for this coming week in the NFL. Start, Doug, with a game on Friday, and I'll give the NFL's credit. They got a good Black Friday game this year. I think the first 2 or 3 years they've done this, it's been they've been caught with some bad matchups, teams maybe not as good as they expected. The Bears have showed up for them here with an 8-3 record into Philadelphia on Friday afternoon.
Yeah, you didn't like Dolphins Jets, where the Jets got a quarterback off the street, and that
Chiefs,
game.
Raiders,
I
Giants,
mean, the
Eagles.
Bears win and cover every week. So why would I not take the 7 points? Now, Philly's still in a good place. Like, look, they had a 21-0 lead, but I just feel like something's off with the locker room. I think Caleb Williams is really good. Now, all those people that thought Jaden Daniels was going to be better were puffing out their chest the first season. And my concern for Jaden Daniels is his durability because he's so fragile. And that doesn't mean he's going to get blasted and be totally have his bell rung. His body's going to give out with the wear and tear of the NFL. Look at the hamstring and things like that. So I keep going back to this. That was probably the best thing that ever happened to Caleb Williams. First year, Bears were bad. He took a bunch of heat, all that stuff. And now under Ben Johnson, they're just cruising along. I mean, this guy's having a fantastic season. The playbook is awesome. And it just feels like too many points when you're getting the full 7 here with Chicago. So that has my eye. I don't think it's going to go to 7.5. I think this comes down on Friday morning to 6.5. I think the Bears are good. Now, their defense leaves a lot to be desired, but they can score. So it's going to be fascinating to watch this defensive front for Philly because the Eagles have kind of leaned on their defense and that bit them last week. So this probably a good over as well. But I'm looking at the Bears here plus the 7.
Yeah, I'm with you right now. 7 is a number that I can get on Chicago because they've just, like Doug, they've been in every game, right? Like they just hang around and they've been winning them. Maybe this is a week that they hang around and just come up short, but I only lose by over a touchdown in this game in Philly. And Philly's got a bunch of injuries, as we know, on the offensive line. Next, the Panthers last night. Nice job. I mean, how do you not cover? I mean, the guy hands you the ball 3 times in the first half. I still can't figure out, Doug, some of the stuff Canales was doing. Maybe it's just that Bryce Young stinks. Maybe I'm just giving him too much credit. But the Panthers didn't cover in San Francisco last night. Now they go home and they'll have the Rams in their house on Sunday afternoon.
Well, Carolina's been a much better team at home, but there's an ebb and flow to a season. And I think when they put so much into last night, and look, they know that Tampa lost Sunday. They knew they could be in first place, and they had pressure on them, and they just didn't deliver. They weren't up to the challenge. Meanwhile, the Rams are up to every challenge, right? Teams have tried to fade them, like against the Titans and against the Eagles, and like they've showed up in every game, and they're an absolute wagon in the red zone. I saw a headline like their version of the tush push is Stafford to Devontae Adams, like sort of fades, goal line fades. I think they smoke them here, kind of 42-13. I think the Panthers, I've talked about this a lot, inexperienced teams, emotional maturity. I don't know if the Panthers are good enough to kind of handle the magnitude of that game last night with first place on the line and go home. And they're a young team. And the defensive front for the Rams, I mean, this is the key. The defensive front for the Rams is really good, right? They've drafted so well in recent years, Aaron Donald, all that. And I think this front's going to be up in Bryce Young's face, and obviously he's undersized. So I think that's going to have a really strong negative impact on Carolina here.
Very tough to get in front of the Rams right now with the way that they're going.
Yeah.
Rams looking the part of potentially being the best team in the NFL on both sides of the ball with the way that they are playing. 2 for me, Doug. First one, I saw this total and I said, yeah, this feels right. You got Buffalo on some extra rest against a Pittsburgh team that, listen, their defense has stunk all year. They gave up 30-plus points again last week to the Bears. The Bills are going to get Kincaid back, who actually does, even though he never plays, opens up their offense quite a bit. And then you've got the Bills defense, who can't stop anybody, especially on the run game. And what does Arthur Smith and Tomlin and these guys like to do the most? They love to run it with Warren and with Gainwell. I think this is an up, and away, Doug. 47.5, Bills and Steelers. Lots of points in Pittsburgh on Sunday.
I like it. I like where your head's at there. I think I've been liking Steelers overs all year. I've been burned a couple of times. I did back them, but yeah, you're going to win this more often than not.
And the other one for me was, and I know I've been saying this for like 2 days, and I just said it again 5 minutes ago. I'm so out on the Vikings, and I'm going after them. Seattle minus 10.5 at home. Potentially this Brosner playing for them. This has got to be Seahawks here by 2 touchdowns at least, I would think.
Yeah, they're a wagon. I had them last week, got burned, but that took Cam Ward converting 3 4th downs down the last drive. It was painful to watch. It was a slow death. You saw it coming once they converted the first one. But, yeah, I want no part of this Vikings team. None.
As I was about to flip, and there you go. So we'll do more NFL, of course, tomorrow. We'll talk about all the Thanksgiving Day games on a Wednesday Betting League Live. I flipped to the college football page, Doug, and I see Bowling Green already up 7-0 on UMass. So there it is, 18.5 now. 18.5. And let's say Martin, Carolina should have put more than 9 on the board versus the 49ers. They sure should have. I mean, honestly, could we not throw the ball, a pick in the end zone after getting? I mean, that was you were so right about Bryce Young. That was such a bad Bryce Young night for Carolina last night, Doug. It was so painful to watch.
To be fair, no one knew he was tiny when they drafted him. Joking. Yeah. I mean, come on. The guy's a midget. But here's the thing. So Purdy's, I think, first pick, he was rolling. He had Kittle in front of him. Yep. He had green grass in front of him for the first down, but then he throws into double coverage in the end zone on first down. Bryce Young did the same thing on the goal line. Again, first down. That's what's wrong with these guys. I always complain about Jordan Love throwing bombs on his back foot, 3rd and 4, when he's got a guy to extend the drive and go. And it's really important to understand sort of like just the game management of it all and just risk reward and where you are in situational throws. And I think just Bryce Young's got so many pass rushers in his lap and everything. I also think the Panthers are just not that innovative on offense. That's why I'm laying it with LA.
I'm with you there on that one. All right.
And technically, they put 10 on the board. They put 10 on the board, but then they took it off and went for 2.
Right. Which this is like a whole nother can of worms that you're going to open up. Now, Doug, if you do that, and I understand why coaches doing it, going from the 2 to the 1, like the Eagles do it because they have the tush push play. You know, the Bills do it with a Josh Allen play. If you're going to go from the 2 to the 1 and do that, shouldn't it be a run play in that spot? Shouldn't it be?
Yes. I will say the math of it all makes sense, but let me put it this way. If the penalty occurs on the touchdown and then you can move it's a no-brainer.
Right.
A large reason for that math is the backed up extra point distance. Okay. Yeah. So that's part of the equation, right? It's a parlay. You need, that whole thing, the 2 yard, anyways. But if the point is already on the board, that does change the math a little bit, right? Because you already have the 10th point. So that does put into question the running from the 1, but I still thought it was justifiable totally.
Unbelievable. All right, the other Maction game. Let's get into college football now. We already talked about the one. UMass is already losing in their game. Let's now go to the other one, which is in Ypsilanti with Western Michigan and Eastern Michigan. Minus 10.5 for the Broncos, 48 flat the total.
I mean, look, Western's in first place. They need the game. There's a reason to bet on them. They're trucking opponents. But this Eastern Michigan outfit has been just awesome as a dog over the last upteen years. So I would lean to the dog here, but I don't want to get in front of Western Michigan. They've been kind of a wagon by MAC standards themselves.
And if you can be a wagon in the MAC, well, that is the trick right there for you this evening. Can we get some points maybe? Again, where's my 55-48 Maction game before we get it put away?
You need snow. You need snow for that.
Got to have snow for the 45-43 Maction game. We always go for 2 on Tuesdays in college as well for this weekend, and what a huge weekend it is with all these rivalry games last week of the regular season. Get us started, Doug, with, and I love this game, is the Friday night game. Texas and Texas A&M in Austin. Of course, A&M looking to finish off a 12-0 regular season. Texas, they beat Arkansas last week, still stinging from the loss to Georgia. What do you got for me?
So this is going to be interesting. This could have a really serious impact on the playoff if Texas pulls it off. I don't think they lose at home. I don't think they've lost at home in a long time. So it's just something to keep in mind. Arch Manning's been playing way better of late. Is he a leading, putting up stats like the Heisman favorite he was coming into the year? No, of course not. But he's playing much better. So happy for him because he's a young kid and a lot of spotlight on him. But he was a punching bag earlier. That's not the case. I always like running into people in Vegas who are like out there with friends, and you just hear like the headlines, like the USA Today sort of synopsis of teams. So I ran into like 5 dudes who all went to K-State. They're older than I am. We were just chatting, and they were saying, "Oh, you gotta bet A&M overs all the time." And I'm just thinking here, why? They're like, "Well, Colin Klein's their OC." And he, of course, Optimus Klein was the quarterback for K-State, so they root for him and things like that. And I took a look at this A&M team. This was like a month ago. And it's like, man, they play overs a lot because they have no defense. They have a powerful offense, and the ebb and flow of a season, like when they gave up $1 million in the first half to South Carolina, things along those lines. So they have 5 straight overs in conference play. I throw out last week's under. I mean, that's just a different animal when they're favored by $1 million. It's not a typical game. When favored by single digits, competitive game, they've gone over 4 of 5. Texas's offense they found with Arch. So 51.5 feels really low. I think Sark, 7-win Sark, can maybe get an 8th win, but I think he's going to definitely put up some points against this Aggies defense. Doesn't have to worry about the 12th man and all that nonsense. He's going to let it sling on a Friday night. I think this total's like 10 points, 15 points too low, maybe.
This one, if you didn't have it on there before me this morning, Doug, I was actually going to go to this because I saw the same. These Texas A&M games in conference have been tee it high and let it fly. So I'm with you. Over 51.5 Friday night in Austin for that game. The other one, Jimmy Madison needed to rally to beat Washington State last week. Now they go to Coastal Carolina to finish off their Fun Belt schedule, laying a big number, 21.5, total now 53.5.
Yeah, a couple things here. So James Madison, I laid it last week, and I thought Wazoo played great. It was a horrible scheduling spot, but Wazoo came in there and hung. And to your point, the Dukes needed a late touchdown to get the win. I don't think that was a reflection of how badly James Madison played because they win by 3 in a game they're favored by 14.5 or so. But I thought it was a feather in the cap to the Cougs, so give them credit. Meanwhile, Coastal, I think their coach would have been fired had they not sort of had some quarterback change. They had a new quarterback, and he won 4 or 5 straight games middle of the season. They found their groove again. The Shants were running up on teams, and it was great. But that guy's out now, so they're back to their bad quarterback. And last week, they didn't do anything on offense. This team's got one foot out the door, man. I don't think they're going to show up at all. They didn't show up last week, and they're not good. They're already bowl eligible, okay? They had a great shootout with Georgia Southern, lost their quarterback. Last week they lost 51-7. Now that was South Carolina. Gamecocks hadn't won in a while. It's a bad spot. I still think Coastal's got nothing. The problem is it's 21.5. That's a big number. So I'm on the under. I think we're looking at like 31-3, 34-3, one of these games. I don't think the Chance offense is going to go. They got 1 foot in bowl season. This is their regular season finale. They don't have the right, like the new quarterback injected life. They don't have that life anymore.
There you go. Jimmy Madison coming up this week against Coastal. My two dogs for me. I'm sorry. This just sets up too nicely, Doug. I mean, Mario Cristobal got to go on the road here, outdoors at Pitt, Thanksgiving weekend with a chance to get to, 10-2 and kind of not have to worry about the ACC title game. People are going to think he should be in anyway because he beat Notre Dame, blah, 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 blah. You know how this ends, right, Doug? Miami losing to Pitt.
It works itself out, doesn't it? That's usually the case.
This is Mario always wants to make sure, just like last year, that it works itself out. And I don't like this Pitt team. I don't like. We talked a lot about Narduzzi the last couple of weeks, but this is just me saying there's no way Miami makes this easy. There just isn't.
I'd like a point spread on an IQ test between the coaches before this. I'd like Friday, each of them have to sit with pencil in hand and fill out a Scantron and do all that. I'd like to see an IQ test between these two coaches because they're both fades. I will say this: be careful with the ACC. Right? Everyone was on Georgia Tech last week against Pitt. Pitt steamrolled them from the start, and then obviously had to hang on late. I think this is the conference of chaos. So I think Miami actually needs to win to keep the chaos going. Duke's still alive in there's a permutation where Duke makes the title game. But I like your home dog here, but I will say it's the ACC.
And that does kind of branch out because the other two that I caught my eye also is because nobody's able to take it and go with it in the ACC. The two teams that have the win and get in this week are laying some pretty decent numbers. I think Virginia's 9.5 against Virginia Tech, and SMU is laying 13.5 on the road at Cal. I could see one or both of those being dicey too. I know Cal stinks, but SMU going out to Berkeley late on Saturday night, I'm sure that won't be easy for them either. The other one for me, Doug, was
working theory. Theory though, is the ACC the new Maction?
It's, you know what? You know how much more gas they would get if they started playing games on Tuesday and Wednesday nights? We can get the ACC.
Well, I'm saying like the chaos, the unpredictability of the conference. That should be their slogan in TV ads. The new Maction, ACC football.
It's nuts. The other one for me is Washington, another dog here. I'm going to go with Washington at home plus the 7. They've only lost at home outright once in the last 3 years. And that was to Ohio State. Their games with Oregon, rivalry game, usually very close. I know Oregon's better than them, Doug. I completely get that. But I'm not just penciling Oregon in to the college football playoff here either. I think Washington's going to give them all they can handle at home on Saturday.
Yeah, I was hoping to get 10. Oregon's a little banged up. But look, it's a flat spot of all flat spots. It's the green grass is in front of them. They just got to win this game because they don't have to worry about the Big Ten title game.
Nope.
They're going to the playoff if they win this game. So I think things could get tight. Damon Williams is fantastic. When Washington's right, they're right. They just haven't been right typically for the entire game. I'm actually torn. I don't even know what to do in pick'em leagues. No money involved. So I'm really torn here. I was hoping you're probably going to get an extra hook because this Ducks offense is so powerful. It feels on the cheaper side. So does the total. The total feels low as well.
I saw some 6.5s earlier too, which is I would not go there at 6.5, but 7 or more feels good for Washington. And like you said, maybe we can go in the other direction by then. So there you go. College football heading into this week, very big week. And North Texas head coach Eric Morris is going to take the Oklahoma State job. So there you go. Eric Morris.
He's been the guy I said if Florida had any guts, or if any of these teams, they'd go get Eric Morris. Now, he's really young, but he's been dynamic. He's completely innovative offensively. He's got Texas recruiting roots, though. So that's why I was a little worried about Florida or something like that. And obviously, they just did the Billy Napier experiment, so they may not want to go to the group of 5. I think it's a great hire for Okie State. Honestly, I think it's him setting his sort of the bar a little lower. I love this guy. I think North Texas has been awesome.
Yeah.
Their quarterback Westbetter, whatever his name is, like he was like a 0-star recruit, and he hadn't played since like 8th grade. Some weird backstory, and he's just like, I just love this guy. I think he's, Urban Meyer got hired young to go to Utah from Bowling Green, and then Utah to Florida. I'm not saying he's Urban Meyer path of success, going to win national championships, but this is a guy where if he's the right coach and he's innovative and he's like whatever he is, 32, but you definitely hire him if he was 35. Just hire the 32. I think Okie State stole him from a team that's going to want, like, if I were Penn State, but the problem is he doesn't have the right roots for Penn State recruiting. That would be the only thing. He's got Texas recruits, but I'm telling you, he's awesome. He knows what he's doing. Now, can he run a program like the Pokes? But I think Big 12's fine for him. I don't think it's too intimidating. But they got some work to do, obviously. That program's been really struggling, and they're playing great right now. They've been a wagon to bet on lately.
They have. And look, and it did also say there in the report that he is going to coach whatever games they have left. Now, they win this week, and they're playing Temple. They should win. They're 20.5-point favorites. They're going to then play in the American Conference Championship game next week. And if they win that, Doug, they got a pretty decent shot of being in the college football playoff, which is a real nice feather in the cap for him. But we know how college athletics works now, and I'm sure there's going to be ways he's probably going to cheat one or the other. There's a lot of work to do in the early December with the portal now and all those other things in major college athletics. So that's going to be tricky for him.
It shows the loyalty and allegiance. Now, we already know Lane's never had loyalty. He's got a checkered past, which proves he's willing. He's got a wandering eye. Let's put it that way.
He sure
but yeah, I mean, look, I really like this team. They've just been impressive. They've been impressive for what they have, the resource, all that. I'm just pulling for the guy. I'm pulling for the team. I like them, and I think they put a lot of pressure on opposing teams. Like, they got to play their best because they're going to sling it all over the field.
It is time, Doug, for the best bets here on Betting Weekly Live and the Daily Double for this evening, which was kind of snatched away from us by the Sacramento Kings and Bruce Cassidy last night. It would have been a push. It still would have got across, but still, those two ruined the Daily Double for us last night. We're going back to it. I'm going to go to Gonzaga, Doug, but I'm not going to go for the full game. I'm going to go for them coming out and smashing Maryland in the first half. Gonzaga minus 8.5. First half tonight. Kind of keep the good vibes going from last night, thumping Alabama. Maybe they get up enough. They're going to take the second half off. They won't cover that full big number. So I'm going to go 8.5 in the first half for Gonzaga from my end.
So, I mean, they've been a team that's pulled away in the second half from every opponent. Are you worried about the back door? Are you worried about?
I'm worried about the back door.
I like 40 minutes for this team. I think whoever they play is going to kind of wear out.
Well, you know what, Doug? The Daily Double can be a collaborative effort sometimes. You could talk me into the full thing if you think that the full thing might be the better way to go than the first.
Right.
half.
I can't make the full thing my pick because that's
no. I would go on my side if you prefer the full. You know what?
I think Maryland hits a wall, but they were bad in the first half yesterday. I think they could hang a little bit. Honestly, I think they're going to hang for like 12 minutes. That's more the thing. I think they're going to get. I think Gonzaga is going to pull away, starting with like 12. The under 8 timeout.
Rip them in the under 8, Doug. We'll rip them in the under 8 and have a 10-point lead at half. Gonzaga in the first half minus 8.
Yeah. Oh, I think they're going to be up 15 and a half. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go a little switcheroo here. It's not the switcheroo, but I'm going to definitely pivot here and take the Auburn Tigers. I think it's too many points. Steve Pearl's done a wonderful job, and I know Michigan looks mighty, but there's some backstory with Michigan and things like that. They beat San Diego State, right? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, I think it's too many points. Steve Pearl, I mean, they're coming out of the gates hot. Maybe it was the nepotism allegations and all that stuff, and he wants to win right away. We know certain teams peak, like Tom Izzo and Michigan State. Maybe Pearl's all gung-ho about silencing the critics and coming out of the gates and all that good stuff. I'm just stunned at the line, to be honest. I know Michigan's good and all that, but, remember, there's backstory with Steve Fisher going to San Diego State, former Michigan coach, won a title. and then the new, the new, I know his nickname that's in recruiting circles, the new coach. I just think there's bad blood between Michigan and San Diego State. I think the Auburn's going to win this game.
Well, Auburn plus 4.5 for you on your side with the daily double tonight. I've got Gonzaga minus 8.5. We put those together, plus 265 for the Zags first half in Auburn, which is, once again, the 260 range has been pretty good to us in the past. Let's see if we could do that again for us this evening on the Betting Weekly Live daily double for tonight. All right, Doug, great job as always. We are back tomorrow, Thanksgiving Eve, 4 o'clock East, 1 o'clock Pacific, and we will go through all the action. Huge NBA Cup night, 1,000 NHL games, tons of college basketball games, 1,000 of those too. And the early daily double's a winner from Stephen Boyle. So good job by the guys earlier with the Champions League getting the early daily double. So we like to see that. And we will get into, of course, the NFL games for Thursday, the triple header that we will have on Thanksgiving, because we are not going to be here on Thursday. We will be here on Friday. Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian.
And Friday's kick is before our show, so we're going to have to break that down tomorrow as well.
That is very true. Good job by you, Doug. And we're going to have there'll be college football and that game on while we're on Friday. We'll have some live action, too, while we're here. Betting Weekly Live, Mike Carver, Doug Kezirian, Betting Weekly Studios, of course, part of the Bet Rivers Network. Everyone have a great night, and we will see you back here tomorrow.